For decades, professional services firms have been arguing about timesheets. Should you use them? Are they worth the admin? Are they killing morale? Do they even give you accurate data? I've been in this debate myself for years, and I've been writing about this as far back as 2016. And now that debate is completely redundant. AI has eliminated every meaningful argument against them. I'm Mike Haile. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a member of the Project Management Institute, and I've been working in professional services for the past 30 years. I've had to do thousands, if not tens of thousands of timesheets myself, and I've had to chase people to complete their timesheets as part of a finance team. The case for ditching timesheets has always rested on core arguments, and I've heard them all, from ad agencies to consulting firms to architects to accounting practices and many, many more. And the arguments go like this. Firstly, employees don't fill them accurately anyway, and there's data to back that up. A 2025 study found that 69% of employees admit they don't track their time accurately. The data going in is bad, so the data coming out is unreliable. It's a typical garbage in, garbage out scenario. Secondly, chasing people to complete timesheets costs money. You spend manager and finance time enforcing a process that generates questionable data. It slows down the month-end close and it delays invoicing, particularly if you still bill on a time and material basis. Thirdly, timesheets destroy morale. Nobody wants to account for every 3, 6, 10, 15-minute interval of their day, particularly in creative or knowledge-based roles. It feels like surveillance. Fourth, it doesn't matter anyway, because most work is now fixed price, capped, or value-based. If a client isn't paying by the hour, why on earth are you tracking it by the hour? And those are all fair criticisms, and for a long time, they were hard to argue against. The problem with the scrap timesheets position is that it confuses how you bill clients with how you manage your business. Value-based billing makes complete sense. Charging clients based on the outcome you deliver, not the hours you logged, is a legitimate pricing model. And many firms do build projects on a fixed or capped price basis. And in those circumstances, you don't need timesheet data to justify the invoice. But if you don't track time internally, you are flying blind. You don't know which projects are profitable. You can't spot scope creep before you eat your margin. You can't tell which clients are costing you more than they're worth. And you can't tell if a senior person is working on work that should be done by a junior. In my experience, firms that stop tracking time don't get better at managing profitability. They just stop measuring it. And that's not the same thing. And the data supports this. Only 20% of professional services firms consistently hit their project targets. And if you're running on gut feel instead of time data, the gap between target and actual is only visible when it's already happened. Timesheets aren't a billing mechanism, they're a management tool. So if timesheets are so valuable, why have so many firms abandoned them? Because the old objections were real. Manual time entry is genuinely painful. Asking someone to reconstruct their week on a Friday afternoon does produce garbage data. And the admin overhead of enforcement is an added cost that firms struggle to justify. In 2016, I wrote a blog arguing that the answer was education, simplicity, and better software. I still believe in all three of those things, but they weren't enough to make the problem go away completely. The accuracy problem was structural. By the time a person fills in their timesheet, even a day later, let alone a week later, if they're anything like me, their recollection is already degraded. They round to the nearest half hour. They forget the 45-minute call that wasn't in their calendar. They file their time to the biggest project because it's easier, not because it's accurate. That's not a discipline problem. It's a human memory problem, and software doesn't fix it. But now, with AI, it does. The tools available today don't ask you to remember what you did. They track what you did and suggest the timesheet entries for you to review and confirm. Tools like Clock, Timely, Deltek Replicon, MemTime, they monitor your computer activity in the background. They watch which applications you're in, which documents you're working on, and which meetings you're attending. They compile that into draft time entries. All you have to do is review them and confirm what's accurate, adjust what isn't, and then you just move on. Some of these tools reduce the daily time logging task to less than 2 minutes. That's not an exaggeration. Law firms using passive time tracking tools report capturing 1 to 5 additional billable hours per week per fee earner that was previously unlogged. Some estimates put that at over $22,000 in additional billable value per lawyer per year. The accuracy argument is gone. The admin burden argument is gone. And for those of you who are calendar driven like me, who keep your calendar current and use it as a real record of what you're working on, there's something even simpler. Here's an example of what I mean. This is a completely empty timesheet from the week ending the 10th of May 2026. I use a workflow built in N8N. That's an automation tool that takes data from my Outlook calendar and automatically populates my timesheet. No manual entry. That took about 30 seconds. And now here's the same timesheet. Every meeting, every client session, every project block I had in my calendar is now in my timesheet. All I have to do is review it, confirm it's accurate, and adjust anything that needs adjusting. And to be honest with you, that's nothing these days. And then I'm done. I built it for myself, but my team at Haile Solutions can build this for you, connected to whatever timesheet system you're running, because the point isn't the specific tool. The point is the hardest part of timesheet completion, remembering what you did and entering it manually, is gone. The objections that firms used to abandon timesheets were mostly about cost and accuracy of manual entry. Those objections are no longer valid. You don't have to chase employees to fill their time because the system does it for them. You don't get fabricated data because somebody guessed at their week on Friday because the system tracks what actually happened. You don't lose hours to admin. The confirmation step takes minutes, not an afternoon. What you do keep is everything that made timesheets worth having in the first place. Accurate project cost data, real profitability by client and engagement, visibility into utilization, and the ability to make staffing decisions with actual numbers rather than instinct. Value-based pricing still makes perfect sense. Fixed fee work is still fine, but whatever you charge your client on the outside, you need to know what it costs on the inside, and that requires time data. If you're already tracking time and you want to know how far you can push automation, or if you've stopped tracking time and want to know whether these tools now make it worth revisiting, you can take our AI readiness quiz. There's a link in the description. It takes about 3 minutes and gives you a clear picture of your business's readiness for automation.